Diligence. And if this was a high budget show, cut to intro slide.
That's
Everyday Hope.
Theme music.
That was Batman, but we really know what to go with. Everyday Hope. Welcome, disciples, to Everyday Hope.
Daily inspiration from the Word of God.
Today we're talking about diligence. Otherwise, it's an action show all of a sudden. Cut to frame. Alright, diligence. Diligence is what it takes to learn something and to obtain that. So that's what we want to talk about today. And we're still on the 7 contrary virtues. So diligence is against sloth. It's the opposite of being lazy. It's working hard at something and knowing that hard work will pay off. You know, nobody gets rich by doing nothing unless you rap. Just kidding. Sly rappers. So, let's look at Proverbs chapter 21, verse 5. The plans of the diligent lead surely to advantage, but everyone who is hasty comes surely to poverty. You know, I believe that. So, it's saying that you have an advantage in working diligent. It's not saying you're guaranteed to be a rich person or anything like that, but you have an advantage, and it's going to be a great quality to have, and it's going to bring you a sense of accomplishment in all that you do. Whereas if you're lazy and hasty, that's going to lead to poverty. You see it all the time. People who win the lotteries, even with stars, who spend their fortune, their money, and it never lasts for them. Another thing I want to talk about is what we hope to do with these. We must learn first to do with diligence. That's where I got the idea to bring this guy back. So I always want to figure these out easy. I want to be one of those guys you see on TV. They do it in like 0.5 seconds, not even looking at it, twirl, twirl. But obviously I'm not that good. I still have to memorize a few algorithms. Could do most of it on my own, but my record is still 3 minutes. So if I want to do it with ease, I first have to do it with diligence. That takes a lot of practice. So instead of fidgeting with pens or stuff like that, if I'm watching TV, I've been practicing this. Yes, I've only been practicing for a day. But that's a long time to practice with the Rubik's Cube, if you ask me.
And me.
So
to have to hear this every 3 minutes.
And I do slam it every time I complete it. I'm like, yes!
Every time.
So learning is not attained by chance, but it must be sought after with diligence. So we don't learn things by chance. We can all agree on that, right? You don't become smart or insightful or knowledgeable about any subject in life without diligently seeking it and obtaining knowledge. Wisdom comes from wanting to learn.
Right.
And you have to really diligently seek that. It's the same reason why we put such an emphasis on education, I think, in the United States and a couple other countries. You get a better job when you have a high school diploma. You get an even better job when you have a college degree. And you can even get better jobs with a master's degree and a doctorate and so on. So knowledge and diligent work pays off in that sense of education. You don't get those things by chance. Someone just hands you a diploma and say, here's your lucky day. Look who's a college graduate. It just doesn't happen that way. You have to be willing to work hard. And it's so easy to play the victim and say, well, I can't go to college because I messed up when I was young, or somebody did this to me, or I have to pay bills, I don't have time for that. We constantly play the victim. But the truth is if we're willing to work hard for it, it can be obtained. You're your own worst enemy. You're going to set yourself back. You can obtain as much as you're willing to work for. I'm one of those people. A few years ago especially, I constantly complained about what I couldn't obtain. I screwed up my student loans. That was me. I went to college when I was super young, like 16, 17. And dropped out, didn't pay my student loans, and so I wanted to go back to school a year and a half, 2 years ago, and to get to be able to be eligible for the grants and scholarships, I had to, recover my student loan debt. And so I had to do a 6-month program with them. It took a long time. It took a ton of paperwork, countless phone calls, but now it's done, and now I'm back in school. And, something I was putting off was because I didn't want to put the work into it. And though I made 1,000 excuses, it came to me being lazy about it, saying I didn't have the time. Well, as much time as I make, I still hang out with my friends. I still watch The Office. I spend a lot of time binge watching that. I spend a lot of time doing pointless things. And yeah, my life's pretty busy, but still, if I'm willing to make a couple of sacrifices and things I like, I can meet the goals that I want to achieve in my life. So it's a matter of what's more important to me. Watching The Office again and relaxing on my bed, browsing on OfferUp, or working hard to obtain a degree, which is going to take a lot of work, a lot of headache, a lot of not going to bed at 10 o'clock at night instead of having to stay up till 12 to finish that essay. So yeah, some sacrifice, but in the end, I'll have a degree and knowledge in a field I truly care about, and have the opportunity, hopefully, to work in that field and do something I love, versus play a victim, work 40 hours a week just to get by and have a paycheck and a place to live. You know, it's a big difference. I think if you're not happy, it's because of what you're setting yourself back in a sloth way instead of a diligent way.
Mm-hmm.
So
many times it's so easy to get stuck in a rut and not put forth the effort, or for me, my big thing is I'm in school too, and I procrastinate my homework a lot.
It was the worst with math with her.
With math,
she
because
doesn't like
I'm
math.
not good at it.
She's not bad at it, but she doesn't like it at all.
And so I would procrastinate it until like the day before it's due. Versus
like an English paper where it's like creative writing, write about whatever you want. She'd be like, oh sure, I can do that. Fine. But something she doesn't want to do, procrastinates. But you're on your worst enemy with that, because it catches up, and there's countless times she has to spend late nights where she would get it done on time, but it'd be harder on her that way. Mm-hmm. Whereas if she worked diligently throughout the week on it, it'd be a little easier. We're our own worst enemies when it comes to that stuff. So whenever I think of diligence, integrity, a respectable man who always worked hard in the Bible, I instantly think of Nehemiah. Without a doubt, Nehemiah is the first thing to come to mind. And he has a book in the Bible, supposedly believed to have been written by him, or possibly Ezra. But in the book of Nehemiah, he is a career man. So it's an interesting take, because a lot of the books of the Bible are written by great prophets or people who talk to God, or priests or witnesses, whereas Nehemiah was a career man. You know, he wasn't somebody who was raised in the church. He wasn't a prophet. He was just a man who was focused on having a successful career, attaining his goals, and living a godly, respectable life, and always living with integrity. That was him. So he attained the prestigious position of a cupbearer. So picture being the king's right-hand man. Picture being the vice president. It's not quite that prestigious. We called it in our service, I don't know the exact position, but the overseer of the White House. You oversee all the president's meetings, interactions, in and out of the White House, schedule the trips, etc. You're responsible for
secretary.
Pretty much. But you have the ear of the president. You would be the one who gets to speak with him more than anybody. You guys would be closer than anybody else on the staff. You'd be with him all the time. So that's pretty much his position. And he left that position. And here's a couple verses from that. They said to me, those who survived the exile are back in the province, are in great trouble and disgrace. The wall of Jerusalem is broken down, and its gates have been burned with fire. When I heard these things, I sat down and wept for some days. I mourned and fasted and prayed before God of heaven. Then I said, O Lord God of heaven, the great and awesome God who keeps his covenant of love with those who love him and obey his commands, let your ear be attentive and your eyes open to hear the prayer of your servant who is praying before you today and at night. For your servant, the people of Israel, I confess the sins we Israelites, including myself, my father's house, have committed against you. We have decided to act wickedly towards you. We have not obeyed the commands, decrees, and laws you gave your servant Moses. Remember the instructions you gave your servant Moses, saying, If you are unfaithful, I will scatter you among the nations. But if you return to me and obey my commands, then even your exiled people as far as this horizon, I will gather from there and bring them to the place I have chosen as a dwelling for my name. So here's Nehemiah. He's saying, this is terrible. Like, everybody's telling him, like, there's no hope for Jerusalem. It's gone. It was a great idea, but it's done. It was burnt to the ground. Even the rubble was burned. There's nothing left there. And when he heard these things, he cried, he wept. He prayed to God. He did something cool, I thought, by praying for forgiveness of his sins, his household sins, and the sins of his country. and saying, God, remember your promise with us in covenant. Please elect a leader. And he felt God's calling to be a leader himself. And so he left his prestigious position that he worked his whole life to obtain to go and take the role of leadership that was so greatly needed and rebuild the wall. So, let me see here. Sorry, I should have underlined it. Where do I want to start it then? Alright, so I'll give you the essentials and I'll read a verse because I can't find the exact tidbit I want to read. But this is what they did. So we rebuilt the wall till all of it reached half its height, for the people worked with all of their hearts. So, my point of this story is that Nehemiah took that role of leadership and he said, unless I do this thing, it won't be done. Now I'm going to do this and work diligently with my heart. And he inspired and encouraged all the people around him not to be lazy. He said the only way we're going to rebuild our homeland is if we work hard together and everybody does their part. If everyone doesn't work hard and do their part, then this is going to fail. And they had the enemies at their gates saying, we are going to take back the land. We're going to tear down the wall. We're going to kill you guys while you're rebuilding. And so it says that they had to fight and rebuild the wall, where half the men were rebuilding the wall and half guarded the builders with spears. So they were up day and night, not even able to sleep, taking turns building, taking turns guarding, back and forth, constantly to rebuild their city. And whereas they were laughed at by everybody and told they couldn't do it, they still did it. And it wouldn't have been possible if everybody didn't do their part. If there was one lazy person, man, to open a gap in that wall, and the enemies could have easily come in and captured the city, and everybody be at risk. But everybody worked diligently. So that's what the point of today is. I'm saying to you guys, work diligently in all you do. Do your part in your life and in the lives of your friends and family. Our lives are only going to be as happy as we make them and set out to be. We need to be joyful, grateful for what we have, and constantly aspire for more, but while staying humble and obeying God. So, when it comes to your life, work hard and attain your goals. When it comes to being a brother, be a good brother and sister. Do everything and work diligently in that relationship. If you're a father and a husband, most importantly those things, be diligent in your efforts to your family. Make sure that you're not leaving everything to your wife. Make sure, and wives to your husbands, just the same. Make sure you're doing your part by spending time with the kids, helping make dinners, helping go grocery shopping, whatever it is. Don't put it all on your wife. If you're able to, do the work that you can do and work hard at everything you do. Don't be lazy about it. That's the point. And if you guys want more inspiration, read the first 6 chapters of Nehemiah. It won't take you long, maybe 20, 30 minutes. And there's so much inspiration there for diligent, hard work, and inspiration for when you're willing to put your whole heart and effort into things and work diligently, the impossible can be achieved. And they rebuilt the whole city of Jerusalem in record time because of their heart and hard work. So thank you guys for joining us as always. We couldn't do this without you, and it means the world that you watch. Please like, comment, share the video so more people can be inspired and have the Word of God daily with them. And as always, never lose hope.
You don't know what tomorrow may bring.
We'll see you guys tomorrow for
Game Day!
Should be exciting. We'll see what Alyssa comes up with.
You're welcome.